Hello, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. I gathered up a few more zinnia seeds. Today is September the 1st, and I am excited. I'm excited about the hope of getting to spend some time in the garden when the weather is not making us want to get out of the garden and get in where it's cool. But hopefully we'll have some beautiful weather now to just enjoy the garden some. There's also a tremendous amount of cleanup that needs to be done. So much that has died and just looks terrible that I need to get out of the garden so the beauty can come shining through. Things like this ironweed that I need to clip back, but there are still some pretty purple blooms on this too. But I do hope to get some of this out of the garden, some of this old dead stuff. Like this is a peony. I was trying to say poppy, but a peony. And I need to at least trim some of these back. And while most of the zinnias are doing great, a lot of them have also succumbed to, as far as the foliage is all brown and looking terrible. I did clip back this little area some last night, or in the afternoon or the evening time, just before it got dark actually. But it had so many beautiful zinnias on them, but as you can tell, the foliage is just looking terrible, and the tops of them were beginning to also. But rather than take all of it up and pull it up, which I may end up doing that, but right now I'm going to try this and see if they might put on some new, because I know sometimes they do, and there's a few of them that already have buds. So I'm going to see which ones will bud and put more blooms on, and which ones will probably just have to be taken out. We'll see what that will do. And I still need to do that over here on this side too, but I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to take up these beautiful zinnia blooms, even though it's proven that if we'll snip them off, they'll have a chance to go ahead and put on some more beautiful blooms. I still have a hard time, even knowing that, I have a hard time snipping the beautiful bloom off, because I want to see it as long as I can. But if you will snip them off, they will put on more for you. When I was reading about petunias, that's what I learned, that I was just taking the little dead bloom off and leaving that little round part below it, which is actually the seed. And if the seed stays there and it dries, it tells the plant that it's done, so it doesn't have to put on any more. But if you'll take the whole thing off, it will actually tell the plant that it needs to put on more blooms, so it'll have seed for next year. And I'm also anxious to see if some of my pots will start looking better, and even to shape them up a little, because this is so full on one side and not at all hardly in the back. So I'm going to try to clip some of this off and transplant it to the back of this little pot. I'm not sure when I'll get that going. I told you that I'm making a movie for our Thanksgiving family reunion to celebrate 25 years, so I'm still very much busy and into that, so the garden is having to be put on the back burner at least just a little bit. I think the little pots are like me in that they already feel that there's a change coming on, and they're so hopeful that it's going to be a wonderful change. And I know that September can also bring some pretty hot days too, but today is just a little bit cooler and just enough to give you that hope, and hope is a wonderful thing. This little pot I need to redo too. I need to clip some of it back out of her face and maybe take some of this euphorbia and put over on the other side, but I'll figure something out for this little pot if I get the chance, and I hope I do. I enjoy doing things like that. That's the fun part of gardening for me. And when yesterday we ate out at a local restaurant here in town, and she had some pots in front of her restaurant, and they had calabachoa, and I'm thinking one thing that I'm doing or not doing on my calabachoa is I just put one in a little pot like this. I assumed that it would fill it up, especially with some mandevilla and a petunia in there too, but actually she had several in one pot, and I think if I had 3 or maybe 5, I think 3 surely would be plenty in this little pot, but if they all got full like this, I think I would have what I've been dreaming of. I hope this isn't a fluke thing, that I can continue on to grow calabachoa because I love it. Who would not love this beautiful, beautiful color? Color on this petunia, certainly not bad either. And I love this beautiful little double yellow calabachoa too. Definitely need to do something with this poor little pot. I think it could be beautiful with just a few little additions in there, so I'm hoping to get some of that done before too awfully long. I hope my movie will go quickly. It's going to be in several parts, and I'm working on part 3 now, so I've got 2 parts done, which is wonderful. It's always so satisfying to have an accomplishment. You know, an accomplishment is a wonderful thing. Look at this beautiful purple double calabachoa. If I had 3 or 4 in there, I just know it would fill the whole thing out, and I'm excited about that. This little bush or little tree is a golden carya, and it's so beautiful I think it'll probably put on some bloom for fall too, we'll see, but in the spring it's totally covered with little yellow ball blooms, and I had 2 little starts come up, so I've got 2 starts to give away. And this little purslane moss has done wonderful, and look what's coming out for today in this beautiful weather. It's also just like me, this little verbena. I didn't even know it was still alive in there. And my sweet autumn clematis or clematis is filling out. Oh, I'm still hoping that it looks like the top of it may be fixing to kind of die out there, the bloom, and I don't want that. I want to get to show you what this looks like when the whole thing is just covered in bloom. It is so gorgeous. This little pot could definitely use some help too, although I do love the dianthus, even though it's looking scraggly from summer's heat. But I do love it around the cone, down on the bottom part of it, as well as in the top part of it. And this beautiful celosia, I was hoping it would do well, and it has done well for me, but I just need to maybe clip it back and get it started all around where it'll be fuller and not so scraggly looking. I need to do something with that, and I think that I can if I just can find the time, and the weather will be pretty enough that I can be out here without suffering. I actually need to clip back some of this little plant, and I have some holes or some bare spots now in several places that need something, and this will just work perfectly because it's not terribly tall. This is that little strawberry drop coleus, and it's a wonderful trailing plant. It's small, and so you'd think it wouldn't do so much, but it just keeps going, and it's beautiful. I already show you this. This is my castor bean that I was telling you would probably come on up all 3 rungs, and it's definitely already done that. The last time I remember showing it to you, it was down on this first rung just above it, and now it's all the way up and looking great. And this one did have a late start. They can get humongous. So I do love this. I saw one of my Instagram that I follow on Instagram had said she uses this actually for a shade for her other plants, which is a great idea. There's definitely so much more to do than I will ever get done. Oh my, look at this little spot in my elephant ear that needs to be clipped out of there. But today I'm just going to enjoy, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Oh, and hopefully we'll get this little job taken care of so that this will be pretty and we can actually use it instead of sitting way back and way low from the table. But that's in our plans and hopes to do. I think my husband may get his brother down to help him do that for me, so maybe I'll get totally out of, well, I started to say I might get totally out of that job and not have to do it, just come out and look at the finished product, which is what I would love to do. But I think I might better be out here so that I'll get it adjusted close to the table the way I want it, where I'll feel comfortable sitting on the benches and using the table. Look at this gorgeous dipped in wine coleus. Isn't that beautiful? And it's kind of a little too tall for this pot, which is actually great because that means I can clip the tops of it off and put them somewhere else where they're needed. And I'm looking back here and seeing this pretty, this is of course the sedum. This one is Autumn Joy, and they will be blooming soon. As a matter of fact, there are some in my garden already blooming. These are definite butterfly attractors. Another thing I saw yesterday when I was out here is my first toad lily, and these are very small. They're about the size of a quarter, but they're also very pretty. I always enjoy them when they start putting on. My pink and even my red mandevilla did not do much yet. It's still May. We've still got probably 2 full months left to enjoy the garden. Doesn't that sound wonderful? But I know it will go fast, and there's so much to do that by the time you get it all done, it's time to put it all away for winter. But it is so beautiful. You wouldn't want to miss it. And this little orange zinnia has just gone to town. It is huge and it's so pretty. Of course, I love a zinnia anyway, but this one is bigger than most. And of course I do have a fondness for big flowers, but also little ones. Look at these that make a big pretty cluster. This is some of the best that my impatiens have done, so I'm very proud of them. And they're basically just in the shade of this little ghost honeysuckle. And I would have to say that that one orange zinnia is not the only one that's big and beautiful. Look at this one. The Gara is beginning to bloom too. It's had those pretty spikes on it for quite a while, but the little fluffy bloom that looks like a butterfly floating around on a little wiry stem, they are just now filling out for me. And orange is not the only color of a zinnia to shine in the garden. Look at this one today. Isn't that gorgeous? And this is one of my favorite colors in the purslane moss. Who would have thought, except for God, that pink, bright pink, and a golden orange would look gorgeous together. And of course I did get some of this celosia that has the pretty coxcomb tops to it, as well as the plumes. I do love the plumes too. They're not quite as fascinating to me because I've got such an overabundance of them that I've got to pull them out, because I've got so many seeds coming up that it's not going to be a good thing. And these will probably do the same thing, but for right now, again, I'm just going to enjoy them. And this is some of the thundercloud sedum that's fixing to bloom too. It actually is in the process of blooming right now, but this is a tiny little miniature sedum, and I love it in small pots, and it's just so pretty when it blooms. It's pretty even when it's not in bloom. Also, I planted several of the large marigolds seeds back in July in this pot, and I think I could probably take some of those out now and transplant them, because one probably would be enough for a small pot this size, but we'll see how that goes. But there's me some more if I need to cover up some bare spots and to make something beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, my beautiful tall Laura phlox is fading. The bloom is fading. And I've got to thin some of this out too, which I may not get around to that till spring. When it's small and just starting, it is the best time to try to do that. But also spring is so full of cleanup and replant that it would be good to get it done. So if we get a good rain and some soft soil to work in and some time, we'll just have to see how all that goes. Sometimes I have big ideas that don't always pan out. And this little pot has looked scraggly all season, but now I think it has a chance again, because it's usually, as I say, one of my favorites. But look at that beautiful Angelonia, and this morning, look at this pretty combination. That's what I had in mind, that it would look like. That it's my verbena didn't do much this season, so but it could still in this beautiful pale yellow petunia there with it would look great if they would just go ahead and shine. You know, sometimes just the little things are very beautiful. Look at that bright spot in the day. My little agerantum has just faded away, but look at those beautiful bright vinca or periwinkle plants this morning. Aren't they gorgeous? I'm a little bit amazed at this beautiful begonia plant that I put in this little plastic watering can that has holes in it, which makes it perfect for a planter. But it has done well. I knew it could, but I didn't know for sure if it would, because it is in the shade, but it was awfully hot, and it's not total full shade, so I didn't know if it would, but it has done wonderfully, and I love it, and I think I need to find a more prominent place to show that off. And I was over here earlier showing you this beautiful zinnia, and I walked right by This is a sedum, and I'm pretty sure it's called Frosty Morn and will be white. But right beside it is one of the sedum, and I'm not sure if this is Autumn Joy or a little bit brighter color. I'm not thinking the name of it right now, but I just wanted to show you. This is the one that I was telling you is already blooming. Oh, if I could get it, which I may not can, but I'm going to sneak over here just to see if I can, because there's a butterfly over there. If I could get it for you. Oh, look, there it is. It's probably out of focus. I'm going to go over and see if I can get it more in focus, but I'm going to leave it here for just a minute in case this is the best I get. Because a lot of times when I get closer, we fly away. So wow, that monarch was a little treat for us. It finally did fly. But it certainly gave us a beautiful picture before it did. Look at this lovely trailing vinca or periwinkle. Oh, I wish the one that was in my little pot on the west fence, I wish it would have made it like this, and it was white with a yellow eye. But this is beautiful. Sometimes you just have to take what you can get. Look at this gorgeous pink zinnia, and it's so full of bloom. And then right in my pathway, this one is laying down, and I do need to get it, pull it up or stake it up, do something to it. But look at that color. I just love that soft, pale, creamsicle orange. And here's another one of my kind of favorite zinnias. I love the big double ones, but these, they're not double, they're single, but oh, that halo around underneath the top halo is just so special. And in an earlier post, I was wondering if this Kingswood torch coleus and the chocolate covered cherry coleus were the same, but I'm pretty sure they are different. They're the same colors, but a little different markings. But they're both bright and beautiful. I'm pretty sure they could be used interchangeably in any arrangement or garden container. I also love this pale yellow, and it has a little bit of a different colored halo. So pretty. This pale yellow would be my favorite color if I had a favorite color, but again, who can have a favorite color when they're all so wonderful and so beautiful? I just love color. And here's another little zinnia that just needs to be clipped way back. And I haven't been doing that. I've been lucky to be able to stay out here in the heat long enough to water every day that God hasn't watered for me. And we have not had much rain. I really think we've had maybe 5 rains all season. And I don't mean summer season, I mean gardening season. But it's overcast today, and there's a possibility of some more rain. So I'm hoping that we get it. I know they're getting it not too far from us. I love this beautiful little white periwinkle with a bright pink eye. Oh look, he's back again. That beautiful butterfly is back. It just reminds me of a little kid jumping in front of the camera while you're trying to take pictures. And you don't mind a bit because their beauty is something everybody wants to see. I love all the times we've captured a wonderful picture of our children and our children's children and their children. So it's been wonderful. And going through my movie, going through all the things that I've looked at, I've found perfect pictures for certain things. It's just wonderful. Life began in a garden. Today I am so thankful for the opportunity, the chance, the whatever that God gave me to allow me to do this. I hope you're enjoying it with me. But if you're not, I'm just sorry you're missing all this, because I am so super excited. When the weather is beautiful, the garden is beautiful. And you know, the opposite holds true also. Look at this pretty little bloom on this. If I could get it in focus, and I'm not getting it to come in sharp, but oh, it's so pretty. It's purple and white. Oh, and who knows, we might actually get to use this seating little swing for something more than just a garden decoration. You know, there's always so much hope, even just like for a weekend when you're working and you have the weekend, it seems to stretch out before you with endless possibilities, and the next night it feels to be gone and you're getting ready for work again. So I think before I go ahead and go in and get started on my movie, I want to go to the front. So we'll tell the backyard goodbye for now and go to the front for a few minutes, and then I'll get busy on another task. Look at this lovely, this coleus is called molten lava. Isn't that beautiful? And this little, or huge, Kong coleus has not had a chance to really look good. For some reason it got stunted, and the heat just, it just never has looked good for me, but this color can look amazing. This beautiful, I think it's called Painter's Coleus, something like that. But it's just so pretty to me. I love this. I just wish it would have done better, and it may. Hopefully it will go ahead and still put on some beauty and growth for this cooler season, the end of summer and beginning of fall. It won't be long till the caladiums will be a thing of another season. Actually, it won't be that long before they'll all be. Look at this beautiful coleus. I love it because of the ruffles and the two-tone green. And that pretty little blue Victoria and Salvia just sets it off right there too. And again, my little Calabricho in front are looking good too in the front. And I don't know what I'll do, but I may just leave them as is. But I may take them out and put them in a bigger pot. See, I have all these dreams, and fall is coming. Isn't that just like us? I want to do so much, and I'm not going to live that much longer, even if I live to be a very full age. Look at this pretty little Blue Days blooms peeping out there. But yes, I have much to go with now. If I want to go ahead and clip some of these coleus back and start them in other places, and hopefully the cool weather will allow me to do that without them killing over like they did this summer, as I showed you. And some of them did live, though. I'm glad I did the ones I did, but some of them did not live, and that's the way I knew it would be. Not that my guesses on which ones would and which ones wouldn't were accurate, but the full statement itself was accurate. Does that count for anything? My last little impatient, the snails they got it all. So there's nothing in here now either, and I'm practically afraid to put anything in there. I think I'll just be feeding the snails, but I'll probably put something there and try it. If I have time, I'll do that. And behind this little girl is another one of the begonias. I don't know why, but I'm so besotted with begonias. I even love these, and I love the Rex begonias. They're so beautiful, the colors and the shape of the leaf and the curl of some of them. But these are just little shiny leaves, but oh, they just get big and full. This is like the one I showed you just earlier from the back that was in that little watering can. Especially in the fall, they just really show off. And my Mexican flame vine bloomed, and I don't know why. I know this is showing a pale orange, but it is such a bright orange. Oh, I wish I could show you how bright and beautiful it really is. That it is a beauty, and I'm so glad it bloomed for me this year. Doubt if you can see just how beautiful this little coleus turned out to be, but it is so deep dark red it looks like velvet. And the redhead coleus is still, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I definitely would not want my garden to be without it. It just always shines. It never fails you. It just always is so pretty. And because it is a real red, but it's a paler red than some. And it goes with so much more than I would have thought that it would go with. Matter of fact, I'm not sure there's anything it doesn't go with. And right now my Penta is not that much in bloom. But it was earlier and looking great. And here's some more of the dipped in wine coleus. Again, I'm totally amazed. These were put in the heat of July, and seeds, and look at them. Oh, I'm totally amazed at how beautiful they are. This is some of the coleus I put in that heat that actually lived. And in these tiny pots, of course this one is not so tiny. It's not big, but it's not tiny. These little ones around it though are I would call tiny pots. And they also live. The plants that are in them not only live, but they look great. They just look so good. I knew we might have a pretty showing, but that was a knew we might. But now I know we do. So pretty. I'm so glad I'm getting to show this to you. This is another little Colorsaurus coleus that I put in the heat, and it lived. And it's looking great. I'm going to go over here to these. My mama gave me these. I would have never put the peppers in. It just would not have entered into my mind to do. And even actually when she gave them to me, I was like, I'm not sure I want peppers in my flower garden. But now I'm sure I want peppers in my flower garden. I love it. I love when they turn that bright red, letting you know in the horrible heat of summer that fall is coming. This is, of course, and I've told you before, but this is one of my favorite little pots. I just love this little angel. She catches my eye every time I come out. And look at this pretty lime green coleus right here beside her. Isn't that beautiful? So healthy and pretty. Again, right above it there I have a zinnia that needs to be clipped off, maybe even taken out. They get all raggedy and ratty looking, and they're not pretty any longer in the garden. Look at this Colorsaurus, how it's done. And it's just in a small pot too, and it just filled out, and I've taken clippings off of it to put in other places, and will do again given the chance. I will do that again. And then here's another of the beautiful redhead coleus. I just love it. And I may have already shown you, but this, I know I showed you the buds, but my annual butterfly weed bloomed. This is show off color right here, red and yellow together. I guess some gardeners don't want it to show off that much because they're not fond of red, and I love all the soft pale colors too, but I would never want to be without red. Earlier I was telling you that if you don't deadhead or take the bloom off of your petunias, they think it's the end of the season. They put on their seed and they go ahead and die. And these poor little petunias have gotten the message. I did not trim these back. I just didn't find the time to do it. it just didn't seem like a priority. But I will save some of these seeds, and hopefully I will plant some fall seeds that need to be planted in the fall in here, and hopefully get some different plants for next spring to put around in the garden in different places. And here's another place I need to trim out some old dead stuff. But what I was going for is in this succulent pot, there's another one of the thundercloud sedum, the small, more miniature sedum, right behind this ponytail grass that's in bloom. So there's a tremendous amount of stuff that needs to be done, and Lord willing, I will get some of it done. And this little garden art says, a garden shows you how to believe in tomorrow. And that's what we'll be doing too. We'll be gathering seed and root and clippings and all this stuff to try to hold on to it, so it'll be back in next year's, in tomorrow's garden. So this is a little pot that's actually got some beautiful vinca in it, but it also has a bare spot, and I think maybe a cutworm has been here. If not, those snails have totally been super busy. But anyway, this is another spot that I need to put something pretty here so the whole pot can be pretty. And look, the silver sage in this little pot has grown quite a bit. That should give you some idea of how beautiful it can be. If it gets a full growth on it, it's just so stunning in a pot. And just take a look at this coxcomb. So huge and beautiful. And there's another one of the molten lava coleus. And again, my little Esperanza has not bloomed. I'm still hoping it will before this season is over. My little gladiolas didn't do much. They mostly just got all brown. But there was a few that did, and right now they're still trying. There's a couple of pretty white gladiolas in bloom, and I'm not sure what color this one will be, but maybe it will be pretty for us too. If some insect doesn't decide to take it off of there before we get to see it bloom. This is another little pot that I thought would be gorgeous, and it's kind of sat there and fizzled and done not much of anything. So I would like to spruce it up a little bit. I still think if we kept the pretty purple angelonia and just kind of spruced up around it with maybe some coleus clippings or something, and hopefully we can get that one looking great too. Look at these pretty. This one is spent and I need to take it in for seed, but look at this beautiful color on this zinnia. And there's another little pink. Oh, look. I didn't see this whole gold, but my passion vine did bloom. It has that beautiful tassel bloom. Isn't that gorgeous? Now that I'm semi over that excitement, I'll try to go on with the rest of the garden scroll. Do I look over that excitement? Going right back to it. hope more of them bloom too. And some of the other passion vines, I hope they bloom. Well, my husband was out here just now. He pointed this out to me, that he thought it was beautiful, which also made me look at these, which I think are very pretty. And here is just another job I need to do, trim out some of this old dead stuff that it's just part of, it's going, you know, its season is past, and so it's dead, and it needs to be taken out of there if you want it to really be pretty. Although sometimes the dead plants can actually have a form of their own beauty too. Isn't this pretty? Just right in front of this little angel. Yes, for the most part, everything would be prettier if I would just trim it all up. And this is a very pretty hollyhock, but it has this, see all these yellow spots on it, and that white spot there in the leaf. I need to get rid of these. This is a fungus, and I've read that it you can't do anything to get rid of it. You just have to get rid of the plant, and if you don't, it will just go ahead and have this same disease in it next year. So I'm hoping to get rid of this, and this one, so big and pretty in the foliages, and they're a biennial, so this would bloom next year, but it's got this disease, and I don't want this. I don't want this in my garden. I don't want it destroying everything, or all the blocks. So I'm going to try to get around and dig this up and throw it away. I don't know if I can get it from this side, but there's a beautiful zinnia right there too. This is another spot I need to take care of. This is a weed, and I've known that it's there, and I've known I need to get rid of it, and I just keep breaking it off and letting it grow back because I won't take the time, and hopefully I will eventually take the time. And this little tree is my golden chain tree, which is beautiful in the spring. But it keeps trying to grow up this from the bottom, and I don't want this here. I've trimmed it out several times, and hopefully I will get that trimmed out again too. Cythias have done terrible in the heat. This one, I don't know, it looks like it's practically gone, but hopefully it's just the foliage and it'll be back in the spring. This is another plant I can use. I can clip this off that's sticking way out too far for this little pot to look pretty, and put it in other places. And this is Purple Night Alternanthera, and it's a wonderful little plant to use in containers. It's just, and probably in the ground. I use it in containers, and it does truly work wonderfully to separate the greens, play off the greens. There is some green in it, but it is a pretty little dark plant. These little pots are where I did the coleus in the heat of summer, and they did not work. I've got one little coleus here, and I'm going to try to fill these up with some more too and make these pots look good. This one already does. Look at that mound of profusion zinnias, or zinnias. Aren't they beautiful? Remember when I said this little grouping could be a really pretty little grouping by the end of the season? Look at it. I just think it's amazing. So pretty with these big Zahara zinnias. And the few bright coleus that did go ahead and work for me. And it's just so pretty. And it's beginning to mist, so I'm going to have to quit. But let me tell you, thank you for coming with me today on this garden scroll. And please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.